Hello and welcome back. It's puzzle time once again with Sudoku Sleuth. And we have the next part in the series here today that we're going to take a look at in a second, but I'm pretty sure you can guess what it will be given the thumbnail that we have here. You can see from my background, we're still traveling. I think this Sunday or Monday coming is really when we head on to our next destination. So, stay tuned to see what is coming up next. And with that said, let's take a look at today's puzzle. So, it is time for the next iteration of Colorado by Florian Wortmann. Now, if you haven't seen some of these puzzles, they're phenomenal, where you really need to use coloring at a minimum, I would say. But I think coloring and letters would immensely help. And traditionally, you end up having to pretty much color the entire grid before you use one additional rule sets, which today is a crop key set of dots, that should help you basically figure out what are all your colors / letters if you end up using them. So really looking forward to them. I will make sure that I try and remember to link using a card below here to the previous two videos from these series. They are phenomenal puzzles. They are slightly difficult, but if you follow the same approach that I have been taking here, I'm pretty sure you will be just fine. Well, enough said about the introduction of the puzzle. Maybe the rule sets will just help you get kind of reacquainted with it if you've seen them before, or just gets you started immediately if you haven't. So normal Sudoku rules apply. So digits 1 through to 9 in every row, in every column, and every 3x3 box. Fairly traditional. Cells separated by an X, such as these, sum to 10, and cells separated by a V, such as these, sum to 5. Now, quite critical, I'm going to say it's actually true for everyone that we've solved in the series so far, is that negative constraints do apply. So it says here, all possible X's and V's are given. So that means that there isn't any hidden V's anywhere, and you're going to have to be using that to essentially help you with the solution for this puzzle. So just keep that in mind when you're trying to tackle it. Now, lastly, we have cells connected by a white dot contain consecutive digits. There's only 2 of them here. Cells connected by a black dot contain digits in a 1:2 ratio. That's only 1 of them again. And not all possible dots are given. That's all the rules we have for today. And with that said, we should be able to solve a completely empty grid, as we usually strive to do. If you want to play along, link will be in the description down below as usual. And if you do, please do leave a comment on how you got on. I immensely enjoy reading them. And with that said, let's restart the clock and see how we got on. Now, if you've seen any of the previous videos that I have, what I traditionally do is color code all the V's to start, because we know any V, for it to add up to 5, will contain low digits. And essentially, it can only be a 1-4 pair to get to 5, or a 2-3 pair to get to 5. Now, I don't know which one it is, but what I do know is that they're different. That's why I end up selecting blues and green to somehow mean low, the different sets of low, and red will be a high digit. And we'll start with coloring, but I imagine we're going to have to get on fairly quickly onto letters as well. So here's how negative constraints helps us in box 2. Now we know, because of these 2 greens and these 2 greens, that we have 2 greens in this row in box 2. But we know they're not adjacent, otherwise there would be a V between them. So the negative constraints is actually telling us these are these are the low digits in green. This is a blue-red pair. We'll need another blue somewhere in here, but we don't know where it is yet. We only have, I don't know where blue is. Well, I do know actually. Here's one of them. This has to be clearly different from this. And that's green here. Again, because you've got 2 blues looking at this, so this is green, and therefore both of these will be green. These are red. There's a blue red pair somewhere in here, and therefore this is green as well. We've got two greens in columns 2 and 3, so we know these are blues. Lastly, same negative constraint. So you've got greens, greens in columns 2 and 3, pardon me, meaning they are not there. So we need to place two greens in here, but again, there are no V's. So they've got to be separated as such. And these are red, red, to be able to get to 10. I didn't necessarily explain that, but if this is 1, 4, not 2, 4, 1, 4, clearly this is going to have to be from the digit 6 or 9 to be able to get to 10 in this X. So if it's going to, you're essentially going to have a low digit with a high digit for every X. And essentially I'm using those reds to tell me where the highs are, because it will also help me figure out where the 5s are as well. And speaking of 5s, I actually haven't pencil marked any potential ones yet. So this is blue because you've got a green up here. We're not going to have 3 greens in one column. That's clearly nonsense. Meaning we've got a green red pair in here. We don't know which is which yet. We need a second green in here somewhere. We don't know where that is. Normally, I'm able to make a lot more progress than I have in these puzzles with the coloring. So this is somewhat worrying, if I'm honest with you. We're going to go on to letters now. I'm just going to go with blue is A and D, B is B and C, and I'm deliberately, you can see, I don't know what B is, I don't know what A is, I don't know where any of these letters are, but what I do know is if this is B, this is B, and this is C. Don't know what this is, don't know what this is either. D means this is an A joined with a D joined with an A. This is D with something. And what I usually do is essentially almost like pivot around the letter E. So a D will be joined with an F, and A will be joined with an I. And it almost doesn't matter how you do it. As long as you're consistent, that's the main thing. So that's BC, that's BC, that's BC, that's BC. This will be GH. Fortunately, I don't know where these are. So AD, we said, is joined with I and F. This is another I and F. This is a GH, and I don't know which one it is at the moment. Yes, I do actually. Negative constraints apply. So if this was a C, and remember it's joined with a 10, then it would have to be joined with a 10 here as well. So this is not C, this is in fact a B. B's are joined with H's, and therefore this is a C. Don't know what this is. I know it could be D and F in this order, or it could be, no, it could be in any order actually, D, F, or it could be an A, I in this order. Now what we have left here is an E, G, E being 5 for sure in this particular case. That's not G, therefore this is an H, this is a B as such, this is a C, and therefore this is a G. Same logic that we applied in box 7 applies in box 2. If this is a B, then we'd have to have an X between them. That's not a B, that's a C. That's the B, therefore that's an H. Same logic again. That's a C, B. So I'm missing a B in this column in box 8. And I am missing a C in this column in box 8 as well. Just, Sudoku rules kind of eliminates all of these, leaving these two cells. Still need a C in here, and it can go anywhere, and it's joined with one of F or I. I don't know which it is. What I do know is this is not an F. Otherwise, again, this would have to contain an X, because these are joined with F's to make a 10. So this is not an F. This is AD. This is FI. This is, unfortunately, all of quite a few options still. BH. And this is AD. The reason I'm focusing on the greens is we've placed so many of them. We've placed them in the top 3 boxes. We've placed them in box 4, box 5. We know B is somewhere in here. Again, just normal Sudoku rules. Leaves these 2 cells, these 2. And because we don't know what this is just yet, it's kind of very hard to disambiguate. I know that the crop key dots is probably going to be extremely helpful. The fact that we have A and D on there, because if you think about what the digits are that, you know, make up black crop key dots, we've got this set here. And right now we've eliminated 3 of the low digits. So we essentially have a low digit with a high digit for sure, and then joined by another digit. And that digit cannot possibly be low, because even if this is 6, the lowest this can be is a 5. So I'm not tempted to try and pencil mark this in just yet. Why did I pick this as the low? Let's try that again. We know that there is 1 low and 1 high. Yes. And A, D, and B are all gone. This can't be a C. This is the C. There we go. We've got some progress again. That's a C. That has to be, we don't know, because we don't know necessarily that C is 3, by the way. We only know that this is high and this is green, which also means this is not green anymore, and therefore C is not an option. This is G or H. This is B or C, and this has to be green. Am I missing any other logic? Now, sometimes what's helpful with this is to use like some sort of neutral color like gray, just to highlight where no low digits remain. And it's just useful, I usually find, to try and figure out where else low digits may remain. Yes. So we still need an A in here. It's not there. It's not here. It's not there either. And it's not here. So that's A. That's blue. Placed A and D. We have B and C. We placed A here. We still need D somewhere in here. It's not there. It's not here either. This is D for sure. This is one of B and C. This is the other B and C. This is the D. So these are gray again. This is gray. Why is this gray? Yeah, B, C, D, A. Yeah, that's solid. That's solid. We still need, so one of these is a C. And it's clearly not this one. So this is the C. That's not an I. That's not C, that's Fi, which is fine, but more importantly, this is certainly green. This is definitely gray. These are all gray because we placed all 4 low digits in this row. This is gray. We need one of these to be a B. We'll figure that out in a moment. This cannot, so Sudoku says with these two that C has to be in here. It's clearly not the AD, and it's not this one because of the column up here. So that's definitely C, and therefore this is definitely G. And we need a B in here as well. Pardon me, a B to complete it. Therefore this is not B. This is the B. Yep. So we've sorted the A and D here. We still need to place an A somewhere in here. Nothing stops us from being, say, A and D as such. That's totally valid still. I guess I've put it off for as long as I can. I really am going to have to take a look at this crop key dot, I suspect. Just one last attempt of not using it just yet. We know we need another blue. It's either an A or a D. We don't know which it is. Yeah. Okay. So we know C is either 3 or 4 because this has to be 6 or 8. And let's work through this logically for a second. So if this is 4, this is 6. And critically, no. If this is 4, B is 1. And this will become 8, and this is 1. B is fine to be here. If this is 3, this is 6, and B would be 2, and it's fine to be here. So we can't actually eliminate B from any of these. Now it's either 6 or 8, making this, unfortunately, quite a few options. It's 5, 7, or 9. Well, let's do this for a second. You know, there is a 5 in. Let's see what I can do with the 5s at all, if anything. You know, there's a 5 in here. We know there's a 5 in here. Maybe I'll just corner pencil mark these in for a second. We know we need either a D or they're both red. We don't know which is which, unfortunately. Ooh, this is a much harder puzzle than previous ones, in my opinion. So, interesting. Yeah, okay. Let's continue with our logic on the black crop key dot and really row 6 as well. Now, we've already placed 2 high digits, pardon me. So what I'm trying to think through, if C is, I'm just gonna, it's 1 or 3 or 4. If it's 3, this is 6. And therefore this is 2, this will be 8. And this will be 1 of 1 and 4. So this will be joined by either a 9 or 6, leaving still plenty of options, it seems. So that was 3, 2, 8, 6 or 9. And, 5, 7, and 9 are all available. This is 6. It's not very helpful. If this is 4, that's 8. That's 1. 1. That's 9. 9 is not available. That ends up being a 7. And then, because this is 4 and 1, this is 2 or 3, it's actually forcing it to be a 2, so that becomes an 8. So we end up using 9, 7, and 8, and we're left with a 5, 6 pair. So for now, both options are plausible, which means we're going to have to do more coloring to be able to break this puzzle first. And I admit, I am not so sure what am I going to color next. It would be helpful to start resolving some of these. How could I do that? So you see, where I still haven't pencil marked the low digits, it's really and I'm just going to actually remove that so I don't confuse myself later. It's really box 8 and box 2. And I need to think through what are the possibilities. Now, the fact that we have an AD across both rows means that they're essentially going to be in different rows, but also in different columns. Because again, if they were in the same column, they would have to be joined with a V. So I think, we're definitely on the cusp of something here. We need to work through it. Now, the question is, let me try a few different scenarios. Could this be a D eliminating blue from both of these? As in, there's no D here, therefore we have an AD pair. Does that work? This would end up being a D. This would end up being no. So if this is D, there's no D's here. So that's D. I still need a D with these. That's all fine. A would have to be in here, limiting it to this column. And remember, the D has to be in different column, otherwise it will be joined with a V. And we don't have a V in box 8. So we'd end up with A in these columns. And we said the D cannot be in here, so we'd end up with an A in this column and a D in this column. And D here. See, all of that seems entirely plausible to me at this point. So it'll end up being a DB pair. Nothing wrong with that. And an A of some sort on a kind of tangent of some sort or a diagonal of some sort. And then this will resolve the B here. This will resolve the A and D as well. But all of that seems to be in order. Now let's try a different scenario. Let's try the scenario where D is down here. Which actually forces this to be an A. It's not very intuitive, but essentially if A has to be in this row, and we just said this is red, this cannot be a D because it will be joined to an A and then we'll have, again, a missing V. So A would end up being up here, And then A will be joined with the B. So this is, in any scenario, surprisingly, a blue-green pair. Yes. So you end up with A, D, can't be touching the A, F, A, D, and we said we need a D up down here, which is totally doable, but also it's still in a separate row from the A just because of this AD over here. The challenge, the surprising part is it's again all appropriate. So this is not D, it all works. Therefore, this is not F, and if this is D, this is F. If this is A, this is I. So that was A. We said the D is here, and this would be D. That's okay. This was D, this was F. This was D, this was F. And that's also okay. Not giving up yet. Let's see what else we can do to resolve some of these things. So the fact that this is a 6/8, we know that G is not, well, again, because it's two options, that's the challenge. Hang on, is it two options? I've been missing this clue all along. So if this is 4, this is 8, and this has to be 6. If this is 3, this is 6, and this is 7. So G is 6 or 7. What I'm going to do is going to go off on what seemed like a bit of a tangent, actually, to try and figure out what some of these red letters are, because I think if I can eliminate some of the G's, F's, H's, and I's, it will actually help me place some, such as right here. This was an EI all along, meaning this couldn't have ever been an I, and therefore this has to be a D, joint with an F. D, F. A has to be here now, joined with BD. I'm actually going to replace some of these so I can, once we figure out what the large letters are, we can actually go ahead and replace quite a lot of these very quickly. Now, this is not a D anymore, this is the D. G, C, C. That was probably there for a while, so apologies for any of you that has spotted it and have been sort of shouting at your screen saying, pay attention, Sleuth. It's right there in front of you. So none of these are, yeah, this is good. We need an A somewhere in here. Can we place these? We probably can. I feel like we should continue. So yes, this is I. So we said it's E, I. Okay. Just trying to think what are the remaining letters in all of these. There's a few too many options. So we need to place E and G, and we know the order for that. First letter, first number. Goodness me. "27 minutes. This is therefore an I. We still need to place H. Sorry, let's complete this row. We know what this is. This is an F. Therefore, this is an I. This is an A, D, F, D, A, F. Let's start to think about this. We're placing a lot of letters down, which should make resolving some of these fairly simple soon. H is not up here. F is not up here. Still can be E, G. There should be more options. It's not F, H, or I here. It is E or G. This is an E-G pair. This is an I. We've got two I's down looking into this column, meaning I is in here somewhere. TBD. We still need to place F and E and H. So this is EH. This is all of them, E, F, H, I'm going to say. So what we're saying is 6 or 8 is F or H. So C is joined, like, we're going to have to go through this one last time. F or H. Now B is joined with an H. That's the important part to remember. So if C is 3, this is 6. This is 6. 3, 6. Which is not what joins the B to make 10. If this is 4, this is never what joins the B to make a 10. Therefore, this is never an H. It is always an F. I hope that logic sort of made sense. So that's an F. That's not F. Therefore, this is I, A, D, not I, not A, D, B, B. And that's all the low digits placed finally. It's taken a while though, for sure. This is EH again to complete the column. Therefore, this is F and G by the looks of things to complete the column and the box. This has to be from E or H. I suspect we probably have enough at this point now to complete this. I've said that before, but I feel good about this time round at 30 minutes past. So C is, remember, one of 3 or 4 joined with one of 6 or 8. And the F is joined with the D. And then Let's try the following options. So one option is it's a 3, 6. And because that's a 6, the D has to be a 4. 6. This is 8. 6 and 8. Surprisingly leaves both 5 and 7 on the table. Stunningly. Right. So that remains, unfortunately, still an option. 4 and 8. 4, 8. Means this is a 1. This is a 6. 6 and 8. Leaving both the 7 and 9 available. Incredible. I'm going to have to continue pencil marking, it seems. Unless there is a piece of logic that I'm missing. So I need an H somewhere in here with an E and an I. This is not F. This is not H. This is E, I, or G. I'm not able to eliminate any of them just yet. Can I eliminate any options here? C is joined with G, therefore this is not G. That is F. That is G. H is joined by a B. B is not touching. This is not a B. This is an E. H is therefore somewhere in here. Joined with H and G, it seems. Do I know where G is in these two columns? No, it doesn't seem like I do. And this is an F, which I do know where it is. And an E again. Therefore, this is an H, an E, an H, not H, not H, is H. We said what else is remaining here? E, I, and G. So, and both seem to remain options here. So this is not E. 5 is off the table, finally. Options are disappearing. This is G or I. This is, I'm going to say E, G, or I. Still quite a few options here. G cannot be next to a B. Is that a correct statement? Sorry, H cannot be next to a B, so this is G, H. To complete the column, we need H, one of E and G. Incredible. How is it that these EGs keep going unresolved for so long? We need an F somewhere in here. EGF. We need the F in there. This is the E finally, because we've got a G in the column. G, E, E, G. Complete this column, we need, is it H? We have G and I available. Unresolved. It's got to be the Kropke dot. GI, GI, EI, 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 EGI. Right. You'd be tempted to think immediately that F is an 8 as a result of this, but the more likely answer is to resolve all of this is a 6, 7. because 8 still gives us optionality, but I don't think we can resolve these, can we? Let me just double check. Have I missed any adjacencies? That's not an I, for example. That's also not an I. That's E, I, I. And therefore we're left with G, I. Looks like it's a G and an E. Right, let's replace all the E's. They are 5s. Let's color them correctly. Okay, now for this to make sense, 3, 6, 3, 6. This we said is only 7, 7. G would be joined with a C. 3, 6, 7 makes sense. That's one option that is valid. 4, 8. 4 and 8. And this would have to be 6, because that's a 4. They need to make 10, and they don't. Finally, solution. Wow. I don't think this is normally the type of difficulty for a puzzle that we feature on this channel, that it takes 39 minutes to get there. If you don't mind, I'm just gonna fix a few colors. And that's the solution to today's puzzle, Colorado 3 by Florian Wortmann. I hope you've enjoyed the solve. I imagine some of you may find it as difficult as I have, but at least you've got a solution now that's available to you. And hope you enjoyed the video, and see you back for the next one. Bye for now.